Triple berry freezer jam, like all freezer jams, has some very good benefits to it. One, it has far less sugar in it than your average cooked jam. Two, it has a very fresh taste to it because it hasn't been cooked, just frozen. And three, it's so much faster to make than a cooked jam. I've already prepared my berries by washing them, taking off the leaves, and mashing 2 cups of strawberries, 1 cup of raspberries, and 1 cup of blackberries. My first step is to mix 1.5 cups of sugar with 5 tablespoons of instant pectin. So this is a little bit different than the cooked jam pectin. You have to make sure it's specifically for freezer jam and it doesn't need heat to be activated. Now I'll mix that with the sugar before I combine the fruit with it. And that's just because if I put the fruit in, it'll make it clump up quite a bit from the moisture. Whereas if it's dispersed in with the sugar, it won't do that. And then I'll add my 1 cup of raspberries, 1 cup of blackberries, and these have all been mashed really well. You could put them in the blender if you wanted to, but this time I just mashed them. And then 2 cups of strawberries. And now I'll stir those together, getting them mixed really well with the sugar and pectin. So pretty, you can see all the little segments from the raspberries and the blackberries in there. I'm such a berry jam fan. It's no wonder I like this one. I mean, it just doesn't get much easier than a freezer jam. When I was young, I didn't do much canning, but I loved to do the freezer jams. And that's all there is to it. I'll allow this to rest for 30 minutes on the counter. Now that my freezer jam is done resting, I'll fill my containers with it. And they have special freezer jam containers that you can use, but really anything that's airtight, it's best not to spill on the edge if you can avoid it. And then I need to make sure that I have about an inch worth of headspace here because it can expand when it's in the freezer. So headspace is a space from the top of the food to the top of the jar. This stuff just looks so amazing. All the different colors and textures there. So now I gotta switch over to my spatula. I'm always amazed how much more I can get out when I use the spatula. I'll wipe off the outside just to clean up the little mess that I made. And then I'll apply my lids. So I ended up getting 2.5 containers, which is kind of perfect because right after you make jam, it's really when you want to use it. So this one I'll put in the refrigerator and use it right away. With these, I'll put them in the freezer. After I pull them out of the freezer, I'll let them thaw and then I can use them as my jam. And then I'll store them in my refrigerator and continue to use them for approximately 3 to 4 weeks. It should be good for. I mean, honestly, I don't think it ever lasts that long in my fridge. So I'll place these in my freezer and they should be good for up to a year.